Hello, everybody. This is my June wrap up, and I don't know what happened. I felt like I was reading as much as I normally do, but I only read 5 books. Not exactly where I want to be. But hey, that's 5 more books than a lot of people have read this month, so I'm happy about that. So I'm going to talk about those books like I normally do. I'm going to order them from worst to best, but I'm also going to talk about, because the year is half over, now is perhaps a good time to check in with myself, check in with all the goals that I set for myself and for my reading for this year. And we're halfway through the year, so we'll kind of do a little audit of where I'm at with those. So first, my least favorite book of the month is Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Griffin something. What's her name? Sarah Maria Griffin. And I did a whole vlog. Actually, 3 of the books in these 5 I did for vlogs, so I will link those vlogs down below, but usually I don't talk about them again extensively, so like this wrap up is going to be even shorter. But like I said, I did this for a vlog. I'll link it down below. I didn't like it, and we're let me tell you what it's about. It is about this woman, Shell. She starts working at a plant store who's owned by another woman, Nev, and Nev is harboring a sentient man-eating plant. And the whole story is told from the plant's perspective. And so there's like a huge unreliable narrator thing happening because the plant is obsessed with Nev. And it very much reads like, I think the whole thing is a metaphor for abuse and abusive relationships. And so you're basically getting the entire story from the perspective of an abuser. So the entire story is not reliable because, you know, we're getting his thoughts on Shell and Nev's relationship and how they feel about each other and how they feel about whatever, all sorts of things, how they feel about their own lives, their own, you know, all of that. And none of it is to be believed because not like this, it's a plant, first of all, but also like this plant is supposed to be sort of representing an abusive person. And at its face, all of that sounds great. Like, I have no qualms about reading a story about abuse from the perspective of the abuser because, like, I'm certain that an author who is choosing to tell that kind of story in that kind of way is doing it in a way to be, like, satirical or critique something. Like, you know, so I have no issue with that. But I just don't feel like this author had an understanding of where she wanted this story to go, what the important aspects of the story were for her. It was all just very muddled. And by the end of it, we'd strayed so far away from the main narrative and what were ostensibly the main characters and the main story. Like, it just shifted. And I feel like as Sarah Maria Griffin was writing the story, she realized things about the story and about the characters and about the direction she wanted to take it. And so she took it there, but then she didn't edit the rest of the book to make it make sense to go there. So it just wasn't satisfying. And then also, this is a personal taste thing, but I just wanted way more graphic horror about this plant eating people, and we didn't get any of that. This book just really didn't work for me. I gave it 2 stars. Okay, next on my list at number 4, I have Backhanded Compliments by Katie Chandler. And first, I just want to say that I'm very proud of this author. She is on AuthorTube. She's a writer. And the reason I ever even heard about this book is because she posted a video when she got a deal with a publisher for this book. And she got a 2-book deal, this one and another book that's going to be coming out, for 6 figures, which is like a crazy good deal. In the US, when publishing deals are announced, they're announced with like certain qualifying words on the word deal. So like there's nice deal, there's very nice deal, there's good deal, there's significant deal, there's major deal, and all of those words signify a certain monetary amount. And when this book was announced. I'll put the announcement here. It says it's a significant deal, and the monetary range for that I'll also put here. The low end of that is $251,000. So she got a 2-book deal for like well into the 6 figures, which is incredible. That's like a unicorn situation. And so I was like, oh my God, I want to read this book. Like, she's a YouTuber. She is like trying to like, you know, announce her success. And that's like amazing. Like, I'm super proud of her. So I read this, and I'm gonna read the other book that she puts out because she got a 2-book deal. So she's gonna have another book coming out, and I'm gonna read it because of what I liked about this book. What I liked about, let me tell you what it's about. It's a sapphic romance, 2 tennis stars, and it's very challengers. Like, when this book was announced, or I think not when it was announced, but when it was picked up was like around the time that Challengers came out. So like, I understand what the publishers were doing. Like, there was like this super successful tennis story that just happened, and so they were trying to ride that wave. And so it's about these 2 tennis stars, and it's rivals to lovers. I don't know why I'm like dancing around it. It's a rivals to lovers sapphic romance with 2 tennis champions. And the twist of this romance is that there's like a light fantasy aspect in which people are born with the name of their soulmate like on their body. And so they know who their soulmate is. And they are each other's soulmates. They were born with each other's names on their wrists, but they're like rival tennis stars. So like, that's just such a good idea. That's so fun, and I love any fantasy aspect where if you removed the fantasy aspect, the book would not change at all. I love that, which I know sounds weird. I know to some people they might be like, well, why even include it if it's not pivotal to the story? But I just love that. I love this idea of like, everything in our world is the same except this one little change. I love the idea of that. And this book goes into a little bit, like, there's this one scene where they're at a museum looking at statues of like ancient people. I don't remember who it is, but they're talking about like, oh, did they get their soul mark, is what it's called. The name, it's called a soul mark. And so there's like a little bit of like alternate history conversation there, but really, if you took all of that out, this book would still be a sapphic tennis romance, rivals to lovers. Like, it wouldn't change anything, but I just love it. I think I just think it adds, you know, a little bit of fun. But if we're marketing something as rivals to lovers, I need so much more time with them as rivals. This book just moved way too fast for me. I don't feel like we sat in any one era of their romance or their budding romance for long enough to really feel anything about it. And then everything in between, like, everything came too fast and didn't last long enough. So everything in between all of that just felt like fluff. And so it didn't work for me. So I gave this 2 stars also. But I'm like super proud of this author. Like, that's such a great deal. Like, $250,000+ for 2 books is like an amazing deal. And like, I like this like light fantasy angle she has on her story. So I'm gonna read her next book. But this one just didn't work for me. Okay, next at number 3 is Julie Chan is Dead by Lian Zhang. I am definitely going to be keeping tabs on this author. This was her debut, and I already want her next one. And this one just came out like in April, I think, May. This is about, I vlogged this one also, so I'll link that down below. But this is about Julie Chan. She gets a call from her sister that was really troubling. She goes to check in on her sister. It's her twin sister, and she finds her twin sister dead. Well, her and her twin have not talked in years. Their parents died when they were very young. They were adopted by different people. Her sister, what was her name? Chloe, I think, was adopted by a very, very affluent white family. She was adopted by her very, very poor aunt. So they lived completely separate lives, did not talk at all for their whole life. And so when she finds her sister dead, she's like, well, I'm going to take over her influencer life and her rich, you know, her sister was a social media influencer and was getting brand deals, and she was like rich. So she's like, I'm going to take over her life. And then it like starts there, like that. It starts with her trying to navigate this world that she's completely uninitiated in, and like, but people assume, like, people think she's Chloe. People think she is like this huge like social media star, like influencer type, and she's just some poor girl who was working at a supermarket up until a few days ago. So like, it's about that for so long, and then it like gets close to the friend group that Chloe was in, and like has to navigate that circle. And then when she gets into that circle, this book really, really takes a turn, like almost so much that I would describe it as going into a completely different genre than what it is marketed as. And I think that is just so ballsy to do as an author, to take the book in a direction that your readers are just completely not expecting, and that you are not telling them in the synopsis that you are going to go. It just takes balls to do that, to, you know, basically assume your reader is going to trust you with that. And I thought it was fantastic. So I gave this 4.5. The reason I didn't give it 5 is because I think there was a little bit in that transition from what this book says it is to where it goes. In that transition, it's a little bit rocky. But I definitely think that as this author, you know, grows and gains experience, so that's condescending. I don't know what her experience is, but her experience in writing novels, I should say, because this is her first novel. So just as she does that, I think, like, you know, she's just going to get so much better. And this was already so great. So this is number 3 this month. Number 2 is The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. Catherine Steadman could very well be a new favorite author for me. I read Something in the Water last month. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was great. This was 5 stars completely. It was so much fun. This is about, I don't remember any of their names. This is about this woman, Harriet, and she is married or engaged to Edward. And Edward is like, just has more money than God. I mean, just so rich. And she's an author. And she has never met his family. They're very private. They're very secret. He is sort of not estranged from them, but keeps a distance from them because he's like, they're weird, you know. They there's a reason they have as much money as they do, and I don't necessarily agree with, you know, their life. Like, he just keeps a distance from them. But they're engaged, and so their family wants to meet her. And when she does, she goes to dinner, and Edward's father is like, Harriet, I want to talk to you in private. And so he takes her in private, and he's like, oh, you're an author. She writes thrillers, like mysteries. And he's like, well, I have an idea for a book, and I've, you know, talked about my idea on this tape, and gives her a tape. And so she goes home and she's listening to it, and it is Edward's father committing to several murders. And thus the family game commences. And I just had so much fun. I mean, it's like sort of Ready or Not, like the movie Ready or Not, in the sense that it's like about this rich family playing a game with like one of their children's spouses. But it's like not just in this like one setting over this one night. Like, it's expanded through that, and her trying to navigate this situation where the like one of the most richest and most powerful men in the country has confessed a crime to her. Like, what is she supposed to do with that? Like, the most rich and powerful person, one of the most rich and powerful people in the country, like, you have dirt on them. Like, you know that he just confessed murders to you, and he can do anything with the information that he has, that you know that he has killed people. And it just like, it goes places. And I had such a great time. I really love Catherine Steadman. I'm so glad that I've gotten into her. I think she could be a favorite author. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. Okay, and then finally, my favorite book of the year wrong. Oh my god, not The Slip, my favorite book of the month, but maybe my favorite book of the year. Like, we'll see. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. I vlogged this also. I'll link it down below. So I won't talk about it too much, but it is about Tao. She is a fortune teller. She tells very small fortunes because she is afraid of other sorts of fortunes she might be able to tell. She is traveling. She's an immigrant in this land, which is sort of based on Europe, like medieval Europe. She is from what is based on medieval Asia. In this book, it's called Shannara. And so she's an immigrant. Not a lot of people like her, not a lot of people that look like her. So she's navigating that. She's run away from home. The reason she immigrated is because her father died when they were in Shannara, and her mother married a wealthy, powerful political figure in Ishtera, which is like the Europe-inspired place in this world. And so they moved for that, but they wanted her to join the Guild of, what is it called? The Guild of Mages? I think it's called the Guild of Mages. It's basically like a society of people who have access to magic. And she didn't want to, so she ran away, and she's spent, you know, the past few years on the road telling her small fortunes. She meets a cast of characters. It's like a found family type beat, and they are going on these very small, low stakes adventures, learning things about themselves, learning things about each other, and it's just so fucking precious. And I love all the relationships between these people. I love all of the conversations they have in which they learn things about themselves and each other, and it's just so fucking cute. So this was my favorite book of the month, and if you want to see me talk about it in more detail, I will link that down below. Okay, since that was such a small wrap up, I'm going to take this opportunity to also talk about some of my goals that I had for the year, and audit them and see where I am at. If I'm keeping up with, you know, the goals I set myself for my year, my reading challenges, things like that. So my New Year's resolutions, I shouldn't really call them resolutions. They're really just goals. My goals for the year, first was to read 50 books. I so far have read 44 this year, I think. It's 44. Yeah, 44 books this year. I'm gonna get to 50. I wish that number was higher at this point in the year, because I'm probably in December not gonna read any new books. I'm just gonna reread like my top 10 when I'm trying to determine my, like, the order of my favorites for the year. So I'm not gonna read in December. That means I have July, August, September, October, November, 5 more months of reading new books. And I really wanted to get to 100 books this year secretly. I mean, my goal was 50. It's always 50. But, like, I would have loved if I could get to 100 this year. But at 44, like, I'm not even halfway to 50 at this point. So I need 16 more books. That would be, not 16, 56. Why did I say 16? But that would be, what? Like, 11-ish more 11 books a month for the next 5 months, and then one of those months I'd have to do 12, and I'm just probably not going to do that. So that's kind of a bummer, but I'm still happy with 50. Like, that's still incredible. Okay, another goal I had was to journal daily. I very decidedly have not done that. I think I've probably journaled like 5 times this year, and I wanted to do it daily, and I'm just not doing that. I would love to, like, I mean, there's been so many times this year where I'm like, I should write this down, I should, like, get this emotion out, and I just, like, am not doing that. I'm not committing, I'm not prioritizing that. Like, I'm not committing the time to that, which, I don't know, maybe next year. Another goal that I had was to write more long form book reviews, maybe one a month, I say, like, really in depth. I don't think I've even done one of these. Like, in the way that I'm describing it here, like, really in depth covering character writing, plot, etc. And I don't even think I've done that once. I've, like, written, like, multi-paragraph reviews. My one for Stag Dance was really, really long, because I did a full review for each short story in that. So maybe that one counts. I don't know. I've done, like, stroke, multi-paragraph reviews in which I have a lot of thoughts, but they're not like structured in any way where I'm like breaking down each element of a book. Yeah, I think that's a fail. Complete the bottom reading challenge. I'm going to get into that in a second. I mean, I haven't finished it, but we're only halfway through. The reading challenge is like a full year challenge, but I'm behind in my book of the month reading challenges, but we'll get into those in a second. Post weekly on JKK Reads. I haven't been posting weekly, but like this, I think is going to be my 14th video because I'm going to post the vlog in which I talk about this, I'm going to post before I post this. And that's going to be number 13. So this is going to be number 14. And then I just filmed what is going to be number 15. And there are we've been through 24 weeks, something like that. So not weekly, but like I'm still happy with the amount I've posted. And then the next one was, is this my booktube year? Clearly it is. I'm doing a booktube video right now. Oh, wait, I just realized that what I meant in post weekly on JKK Reads, I meant my Instagram, JKK Reads. I have not been posting weekly on JKK Reads, so that's a fail. But I've been posting a lot on my YouTube right here, so like that's a win. And is this my booktube year? Yes, it very much is. And then this one is a secret, so you'll be seeing it blacked out. I will not be discussing that. And then watch 50 movies. I don't know how many I've watched. I would need to look at my Letterboxd. But I already know, like, I'm not watching as many movies as I would like to be. To get to 50, I need to be watching one a week. And, like, I'm not doing that. I haven't. It's just, again, like, there are other things I'd rather be doing. Like, the reason I made this goal is because, like, there are so many good movies that come out, and, like, I always want to see things, and I just never prioritize it. I never plan to go to the movies. I'm just not dedicating, 2 to 2.5 hours of my life to doing that. I don't know. It's like I'd just rather be reading, So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm behind for sure. And then see 5 theater shows. I, like, low-key forgot I made this a goal. I went to see Wicked when it was in town. My friend Adriana is in, I don't want to dox her, so I'm not going to say in what, but she, like, is a musician. And I've seen, I think, twice this year. I don't remember how many I've seen. So maybe like 3. Like, in total, including Wicked. Like, maybe we're like 3 or 4 at this point. So yay, that's a win. Okay, and then let's look at the book of the month and Goodreads reading challenges. I did a vlog in which I specifically tried to make progress on those challenges. I'll link it down below. Let's look at the Goodreads reading challenge first, because I don't know how Goodreads is doing their challenges. It's not very organized, but like it seems every few months they're putting out a new group of challenges. So when I posted that video, the only challenges that were on Goodreads are the first 3 in this row that you're seeing right here: Buzzy Books, Epic Quest, and Era Explorer. And I did a vlog in which I read books for all that like, marked all of those off. But since then, they've put out so much more. So there's the Essential Reader, Her Story, and then that was January to April, and then in May and June, there were all these ones: Page Turner, Speed Reader, Book Boss, Centennial Picks, Heritage Reads, Armchair Explorer, Rainbow Reads. There were all these. And so I guess I did those, but I wasn't actually trying. But like, work. That goes against the spirit of what I'm doing here though. Like, I was trying to finish, like, intentionally, like, know that these are challenges and read books specifically because there are these challenges, not just like passively marking them off by luck, which is like what has happened because I didn't even know about them. And they just put out like 9 new ones that I haven't completed any of those for. So, but hey, as you can see here, I've unlocked all of them, whether I knew I was doing it or not. So work. Okay, and then book of the month. Okay, the main yearly goal is to read 15 books book of the month books in the year. And as you can see, I've only read 4. But here's the thing that pissed me off of book of the month. It only lets you go back to the previous year. So anything I've read from that released in 2023 doesn't count, which is annoying. So like I read Gwen and Art Are Not in Love, but that came out in November of 2023. So that didn't count towards this. It's very annoying. So out of the books that are eligible for these challenges, I've read 4 for the total, like the big grand read 15 book of the month books. And they were A Teller of Small Fortunes, 1,000 Times Before, A Short Walk Through a Wide World, and None of This Is True. But then the smaller goals, there's 6 smaller goals where if you do 3 of them, I think you get a prize of some sort. 2 of those are audiobook related, and I'm not getting my audiobooks through Book of the Month, so I'm just not ever going to get those, and we're not even going to discuss them. But let's look at the other ones. We have Hot Taker, rate and write reviews for 5 books to earn this badge. I've done it for every book that qualifies for this year's challenge, so those same 4. There is also Long Hauler, earn this badge by rating at least 4 books that are 400 plus pages. I've only done 1, apparently, A Short Walk Through a Wide World. So I need to start prioritizing my longer Book of the Month books, apparently. And then we have Debut Darling, find Rising Stars, rate 5 debuts to earn this why did I say it like that? Earn this badge. And 1,000 Times Before, Teller Small Fortunes, and A Short Walk Through a Wide World for all debuts. So I need to read a couple more debuts. Maybe I have a couple debuts that are both over 400 pages. And that would work. And then the last one, Omnivore Reader, taste test, rate books from at least 6 different genres to earn this badge. So the 4 that I've read are all from different genres. So I need to find the books that are over 400 pages, debuts, and of genres that I have not already read. That's my goal for the second half of the year. Okay, and then finally was the Books in Lala Buzzwordathon challenge, in which my reading was supposed to be informed by a buzzword in the title or a buzzword that described a cover somehow. So let's look at the title challenge. For January, that was the whole reason I did my original goal progress vlog, Truth and Lies, None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, got that one. And then there are all these other ones that I have no idea. I haven't been keeping track, so I'm gonna have to look through my Goodreads and see, like, what have I done? Okay, water words. Let's see. Oh, Something in the Water. I've done it. Okay, here's the way I'm approaching this challenge. I do not care if I read the book in the month that it specifies. Like, I don't care about that. So Something in the Water I read in May, and the water word was February. I don't care about that. Like, I just want to complete the challenge. It doesn't really matter to me when I do it. So Something in the Water by Catherine Stedman. I did do. Okay, March. Thing. The word thing has to be something in the water. That does it. But let's see if I can find a different one. Oh, I reread The Starless Sea. So that could be the water word, and then something in the water could be for thing. I also don't really care if I double dip, but it'd just be cool. Oh, Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I read that in March, but I read what's it called? The House in the Cerulean Sea. I read that in February. So that's going to be my February water word, and then something in the water is my March. Okay, we're doing good. April, animals. I think it's just animals, like an animal has to be in the title, but it doesn't matter. I read Stag Dance. Oh, stag is an animal. I was thinking Stag Dance has stags on the cover, but this isn't the cover challenge, but stag is an animal. So, okay, yeah. So, there, that's it. Oh my god, I'm doing so good. May, 2 and 2. Either T-O or T-O-O. There's no way I didn't do this one. Oh my god, this is truly crazy. I have not read a single book with the word 2 T-O or 2 T-O-O in it. That's insane. Okay, well, I need to do that. June, memory words. Yeah, I wouldn't describe any of this as memory words maybe 1,000 times before, because like time, but like I think that's a stretch. I think memory words are like The Memory Collectors is a book that I bought recently. Spells for Forgetting. Forget is a memory word. Things like that. I haven't read anything like that. July, punctuation. Okay, a book with punctuation in the title. Let's see. Hunger, a memoir of my body. The semicolon is punctuation. I think that's it. Take a Bow, Noah Mitchell. After the bow, there's a comma. That's punctuation. You're the problem, it's you. There's apostrophes in there. Yeah, August is with in the title. I just searched in all my books, and apparently I've never read a book with the word with in the title. That's crazy. Okay, so I need to read a book with the word with in the title. September Events. Like The Wedding Planners. I've never read it, but like wedding is an event. So like something like that. The Hunger Games. That like is an event. So maybe that's just it. The Hunger Games, that's an event. But I think that's like not what is intended. Oh, the Family Game. No. The Sunbearer Trials is like the same thing as the Hunger Games. Like it's an event in that world, but I think the intention of this one is like wedding, party, something like that, anniversary, like things like that. Yeah, I don't have anything like that. Okay, if by the end of the year I haven't completed this a different way, I'm gonna just use the Hunger Games. I'm gonna cheat. I don't know if that's cheating. I don't know. But I'm gonna say no for now. October, violent words. Yeah, in January I read Murder Road. So murder is a decidedly violent word. November, never. A book with the word never in the title. Let's see. Let's search all of my read books. Oh, this is just all my books this is all my books in general. Okay. So, not only have I not read a book with the word with in the title, I don't have any book on any of my shelves read, want to read anything with the word with in it. That's crazy. But okay, I searched never, Lost in the Never Words, and Never Been Kissed comes up, but I haven't read those. So I need to read a book with the word never in the title. And then December, alliteration. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. The S's, that's alliteration. The Starless Sea, that's alliteration. Yeah, I think any of those work, but I'm gonna hold off from putting those on the image right now because I want to see if I can do even better. So like one that immediately comes to mind is Una Out of Order. Like I personally want 3 words that give, but that's 4. Una Out of Order. That's 4 words that are alliterative. Oh, I'm looking right there. Red River Road is a book that's on my shelf right there. So that, but like the ones I just said, The Starless Sea, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, those are only 2 words with that alliterative element. And I think I want to challenge myself to do 3. So maybe I'll read Red River Road. That could be fun. So I'm going to hold off on that one. Okay, let's look at the cover challenges. So January I already did. None of This Is True had the house pattern on it. February, a skyline. Have I read a book with a skyline on it? Oh, yeah, The Starless Sea is my or not The Starless Sea, sorry. The House in the Cerulean Sea. That's the water word for February, and it has a skyline on the cover. So, yes, I have indeed done that. March, books. A book with books on the cover. Surely I've done that because I love books about books. Okay, psych, I have not done that, so I need to read a book about books. Don't gotta tell me twice. But yeah, I have not. Okay, and then April, animals. So Stag Dance works, because it's like the buzzword, the word, it has to have an animal word in the title and an animal on the cover, and Stag Dance works. So that's what I'm doing there. May, eyes. I just read Eat the Ones You Love. That has an eye on the cover, but did I read anything in May with an eye on the cover? I doubt that I have. Oh, well, it has a person's face. But I think the intention is that it's just an eye by itself, not like a person's face and that person has an eye on their face. So like I read Dark Air in May, but I don't think that's the intention. I think it's just like an eye by itself. And yeah, Eat the Ones You Love, I think, is the only one that fits. So good, we're doing that. June, Celestial. Well, I wish that was the buzzword because I read Celestial Monsters. Oh, but The Teller of Small Fortunes has like all these little stars. So maybe that. I think I can probably do better though. The Darkness Outside Us has space in the background. Yeah, there's a couple I could use if by the end of the year I haven't found anything better, but I think I could do better, so I'm gonna hold off on that. July, Technology. Oh, Lessons in Chemistry, the copy that I have she's holding a TV. So yeah, we're counting that. August is Transportation. Have I read a book with some mode of transportation on the cover? Again, The Teller of Small Fortunes. She's in her little carriage that is pulled by her mule, and that's transportation. And I think that's good enough. Like, I don't... Oh, Pole Position. Is he sitting on a race car? Yes. Yeah, there's race cars on the cover of Pole Position. I'm counting that. September, Foliage. I could double dip again and use what is it called? Eat the Ones You Love, but I'd prefer not to double dip. So do I have any other kind of foliage? Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. There's trees. Perfect. October, Weapons. Have I read a book with a weapon on the cover? No, I haven't. So I need to read a book with a weapon on the cover. Okay. November, Food and Drink. Hunger by Roxane Gay has a fork on the cover, but I think it like should be actual food or drink. Oh, Fake Dates and Mooncakes. Is there actually cake in this cover? Yes. And there's a boba tea. Perfect. Fake Dates and Mooncakes. Going in right there for food and drink. And then December, Monochromatic. Know My Name by Chanel Miller. There's some flecks of gold in there. The Mysterious Case of Rudolph Diesel. It's like all kind of blue. Yeah, there are a few things I could do, but again, I'm gonna hold off. I think I can probably do better. I don't know, maybe The Family Game, but the lettering is purple, so I don't know if that counts. Like, I don't know if the lettering should also be the same color as like the background. Something in the Water. All the background is blue, but then the lettering is red. Yeah, I think I can probably do better. I still want to read, what's it called? Lie With Me. I still want to read that, and that cover is all gray. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to hold off on Monochromatic. I think I can do better. So, here, I don't remember exactly what I just said, but whatever I just said, here are the 2 buzzword challenge progresses. And so that's where we're at the beginning of July. That's where I'm at with all my goals. There's room for progress, but also a lot of accomplishments I'm super proud about. Having 44 books read at this point in the year, I'm super proud of. A lot of really great books too. I feel like I've learned a lot about my reading taste because I've been reading some things I didn't like so much, which is still good information to have. So yeah, I'm happy with where things are at halfway through the year. With my reading specifically, not with anything else, but with my reading, I am happy. So thank you for being here with me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.